All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, on the heels of three consecutive losing seasons for the first time in more than 30 years, New England Patriots team owner Robert Kraft had seen enough. And after the final year with Bill Belichick as a Patriots head coach, um, along with the first year of first and only year rather of Gerard Mayo as a Patriots head coach, both of those being duds, consecutive 4-13 seasons. Kraft then turned to another former Patriots linebacker to turn things around in Mike Vrabel. And of course, Vrabel had a past life as an NFL head coach before coming to the Patriots this year, as he was with the Tennessee Titans. And remember, back in 2019, not only did his Titans beat the Patriots in the first round of the playoffs, which subsequently ended up being Tom Brady's last game with the franchise, he also got him to the AFC Championship game that year, three consecutive playoff appearances, consecutive AFC South titles. And Vrabel is once again doing his magic this year, as he just took a 4-13 team from the previous year, got them to 14-3 during the regular season. And guess what? When Super Bowl number 60 goes down in 2 weeks in Santa Clara, the New England Patriots are once again going to be representing the American Football Conference. You can't say enough about the turnaround that the Patriots are enjoying under Mike Vrabel. Okay. And it's also not an accident that this is happening. I know some people want to sit back and say, well, the Patriots had an easy schedule this season. And like I've said all along, you do not apologize for who you're playing in the National Football League. That's first and foremost. Number two, you look at New England. They have taken care of their business here in the postseason. And I know some people might want to sit back and say, well, after they beat the Broncos today, well, guess what? They played a backup quarterback. The bottom line is New England still had to go out there and play. The Broncos had a lights out defense all season long. Their defense was lights out today. I know that the elements factored into things in the second half, but at the end of the day, okay, I always feel like this, and feel free to disagree with me if you want. It's all good. But nonetheless, you do not get to the Super Bowl by accident. I know that there's some quote unquote reporters or journalists, whomever out there, some people want to like put down a team's accomplishments and say, well, they're not the greatest team to get to the Super Bowl, this, that, and the third. No, you don't make it to the Super Bowl by accident. And on top of that, it's also not an accident that this is now the 12th time in Patriots franchise history that they are going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And on top of that, this is the 11th time that the Patriots are going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl on the watch of their team owner, Robert Kraft. And Robert Kraft purchased this team back in 1994. This is now the third different head coach that has gotten the Patriots to the Super Bowl on his watch. Of course, first it was Bill Parcells, then Bill Belichick, and of course now Mike Vrabel. And it's also the third different quarterback that will be starting for the Patriots in the Super Bowl on Robert Kraft's watch. First time around, Drew Bledsoe. For the next basically almost 2 decades, it was all about Tom Brady. And then, of course, right now, it's about Drake May. And I'll tell you like this, I give Robert Kraft a ton of credit because it's one of those where I questioned the move a little bit last year when he decided to get off of Gerard Mayo in favor of Mike Vrabel. I'm never, and it's because I'm never really a fan of teams getting off of a head coach after 1 year, especially when it's a bad team that a coach is inheriting, which is something that, Gerard Mayo did. However, Robert Kraft made the best decision for his organization, and you could see how it is quickly paid off because early on this season, we saw that this Patriots team was going to be different under Mike Vrabel. You go back to week number one, you really couldn't get a feel for this team yet when they lost at home to the Raiders. And who knew um, that it was going to be something where the Raiders were going to be as bad as they were, and who knew that the Patriots are going to be as good as they were. Um, it's Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks so much. Thank you for the shout out. Definitely appreciate that, man. Um, and on top of that, I think the Miami game back in week number two, even though the Miami had their struggles this season, but New England went in there and found a way to win. And it was their first win under Vrabel. And of course, it was a division win. They played Pittsburgh tough at home in week number three. And I think when things really got going for New England, you go back to week number five, when they went on the road on Sunday Night Football and upset the Buffalo Bills. And that was important uh, for them due to the fact that after the Patriots' last division championship before this year, back in 2019, after that, the Bills were the kings of the frat house, if you will, for the AFC East. That was a statement, not just only beating the Bills, but going to their backyard and doing it. And it's all good, man. Good seeing you. Definitely appreciate the support, man. And it was one of those where after that, this team got confidence, and of course, when you get the wins early, it's easier for guys to buy into what a head coach is selling, and everything was different. With Mike Vrabel this year in comparison to Gerard Mayo, and of course, even the last couple of years for them under Bill Belichick, and of course, people are going to say, well, they didn't play the best teams. I get it. You don't apologize who's on your schedule during the regular season in the National Football League. You've got to go out there and take care of your business. And that is exactly what we saw New England do. They didn't lose another game during the regular season until week 15 with a rematch against Buffalo. But then they responded on Sunday Night Football in week 16. We saw them go on the road and get a win over the Baltimore Ravens, which really hindered their chances to get to the postseason. Went back and destroyed the Jets and Dolphins in consecutive weeks. And then you look at what they have done to the quarterbacks so far that they have faced here in the postseason. They beat up and embarrassed Justin Herbert. I'm talking about this Patriots defense in the wild card round. And then, of course, they rattled CJ Stroud. And I know it wasn't going to be the same today with Jarrett Stidham, but I will give credit to the Patriots because they made the adjustments. Because naturally, when a guy is a backup quarterback like Jarrett Stidham and he hasn't had a start and, a dog's age, you really don't have a feel. You really don't have film on what he can and cannot do. You really don't have a feel on tendencies. And I will give credit to Broncos head coach Sean Payton. He tried to cover a lot of that up, went for a lot of plays with men in motion to kind of really negate what the Patriots could do. But eventually, New England's defense caught up, and then they started to pin their ears back. And we got an idea throughout this game as it went on, snow or no snow, that Jarrett Stidham is indeed a backup. We saw Denver score that early touchdown, and they had all of the momentum early, okay? And they were driving again. And I know that a lot of people are going to sit back and question Sean Payton going for it on 4th and 1 instead of opting for the field goal in the second quarter. I get it, but if you're coming from Sean Payton's standpoint, with the way that your D was playing, you had an opportunity for a kill shot early on to go up 14 to nothing. And even if it didn't snow, I truly do feel that a touchdown there by Denver would have been almost insurmountable. Not only the way that Denver's D had been playing, but also the way that New England's offense had been playing to that point. Of course, the Patriots made the stop. And then, of course, the turnover late by Jarrett Stidham. I thought it was a fumble clear as day. It should have been a touchdown, defensive touchdown for New England. Luckily, they got the ball back. The officials overturned things, and then New England was able to get the touchdown. And even though that both teams traded missed field goals prior to the end of the first half, you had to feel at that point that the Patriots had the momentum. Why? Because they did not play well offensively in the first half, and the score was still knotted at a 7 apiece. They changed their approach heading into the second half. They focused more on the ground game. They got that early field goal. And remember, that was after they held the football for nearly 10 minutes on that opening drive in the second half, and it really changed the dynamic. And I know that the Patriots did not score again, but for the most part, they were in control for the bulk of that second half. And of course, when push came to shove, this Patriots defense stepped up and made the key plays late, especially the interception by Christian Gonzalez. And then what can you say about this Patriots offense? They changed it up, and Mike Vrabel basically said, you know what? We're going to run the football because I do not believe that the Broncos offense with Jarrett Stidham in the snow can score on my defense. And guess what? Mike Vrabel was absolutely correct. New England basically went exclusively to their run game in the second half, as this was a game where the Patriots won it with just 206 total yards. But guess what? They only gave up 181. And then you look at their ground game: 141 yards on the ground, 65 from Drake May, 71 from Ramondre Stevenson, and credit to Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, because in that second half, unlike the first half, he did not waver from the ground game. Even on 3rd and 5s and 3rd and 9s, he was still running the football, and it was effective. And even then, when Drake May was dropping back to pass, guess what? If he did not see his first read in the second half, he was taking off. The Broncos didn't were not able to account for it. We saw the naked bootleg basically, which ended the game for the Patriots, and they were able to run out the clock. And because of that, they're going to be in Santa Clara in a couple of weeks. But you know what? I know some people are going to say, well, they played a backup quarterback today. I get it. But still, you look at this Patriots defense so far in this postseason, they've only allowed 26 points. Okay. That you cannot, just gloss over that like it's nothing. And then Drake May did not have his best game today. Look at the defense that he was going against. To me, it wasn't about the weather. It was more about the Broncos defense. But nonetheless, you look at this kid, threw 15 touchdowns last year, 31 this year in the regular season. Some people have him in the MVP conversation, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. I've said it time in and time out that, you know what, the only job that I feel Josh McDaniels can do in the NFL and be successful at is be Patriots offensive coordinator. And you know what? Drake May looks a lot different. He's been making much better reads here in year number 2, getting the football out better and cleaner. And it's one of those where, he didn't have his best passing game today, but Drake May still made the plays for his team when they needed it. And you look at the Patriots now, as they're just 60 football minutes away from breaking their tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers for the most Super Bowl titles in NFL history with 6. And I guarantee you, you got a Patriots fan base, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful or bad way, but they've been spoiled. And I say that because of the success that they had for the Tom Brady years. And there were some lean years, but they were quick lean years, and they're back. And of course, it was weird for those last couple of Belichick years, the one year with Gerard Mayo, to see, fans booing the home team at Gillette Stadium, to see fans, leaving games early, to see and hear Gillette Stadium be quiet. And of course, we saw how that quickly turned back this year, or this season rather, to what it's been, for so long. And I guarantee you, the Patriots are going to have the fan advantage when we see Super Bowl number 60 in a couple of weeks in Santa Clara. Because I guarantee you, the folks in Boston, they are going to show up and show out in Northern California in a big way for this one, because they want to see their beloved Pats. But again, getting back to this Patriots defense, they gave up that touchdown early. They really changed the tenor. They made life tough for Jarrett Stidham. And I said coming into this game, I said Sean Payton was going to have Jarrett Stidham as ready as he possibly could, but everybody else was going to have to step up. The defense was going to have to play lights out, which they did. Okay. And the running backs and the receivers and the O-line were going to have to help Jarrett Stidham out. They did early, but they didn't for the rest of the game. Why? Because the Patriots basically dared somebody, or Jarrett Stidham rather, to go out there and beat him, and he simply could not do it. Now, was it a pretty game today? Not to say the least, but at the end of the day, Pretty doesn't matter because I guarantee you there are plenty of teams out there, plenty of players, Patriots included, that will take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week. It doesn't matter if you win 10-7, like the Patriots did today. It doesn't matter if you win 41-37. Okay, the bottom line is if you score more points than the other team, you get the victory. And of course, there was a trophy on the line today. The Patriots took it home. And I remember former Patriots linebacker Teddy Bruschi saying this once upon a time. Of course, Bruschi and Vrabel were teammates for so many years on those past championship teams. He said, hey, we have a saying there. And the bottom line is we don't lose on T-shirt and hat day. And for New England, big time win, first win in postseason in franchise postseason history against the Broncos. First win on the road against the Broncos in the postseason. So the bottom line is they checked a lot of boxes off with their victory today. You're saying Peyton choked by not taking that field goal to make it 10-0. Listen, like I said before, TFX, it's one of those where we all are going to say Sean Payton should have taken the field goal. Okay, I get where he's coming from. Okay, and I know some people will want to lean on the analytics. I don't think it was an analytics decision, in my opinion, for Sean Payton. I just think he simply looked at it and said, "Hey, you know what? I already scored one touchdown with Jarrett Stidham. He made it look easy, um, and the way that my D is playing, if I can get a two-touchdown lead." With the way my D is playing and the fact that the Patriots aren't doing anything, you know what? I'll take my chances. He rolled the dice and he came up snake eyes because, I mean, let's be realistic. The only Patriots touchdown really came because of their defense. It looked like well, not look like it should have. It should have been a defensive touchdown. Okay, the referee screwed that up, instead of letting it play out. But nonetheless, he rolled the dice. He's going to be remembered for that. But it's one of those for me. I'm not going to crucify him for it, kind of like some people are. I will say this because early on in this game, Sean Payton was out coaching uh, Mike Vrabel. Okay, Vance Joseph, the Broncos defensive coordinator, was having his way with Josh McDaniels and his Patriots offense. But guess what? This is what good coaching is all about. I think everybody here will agree with me on this. It's all about making the adjustments. And guess what? We saw New England make the adjustments because second half, their offense came out like a different team. I know they only scored a field goal in the second half, but guess what? They really dictated and dominated things in the second half because they came out like gangbusters. They dominated that line of scrimmage on offense. I think that first drive to begin the second half, they held the football for nearly 10 minutes. They got the field goal out of it. But from that point on, things changed. And eventually, the Patriots didn't have to blitz as much. Why? Because they were creating enough pressure with their front four. And of course, all saying is when you create pressure with your front four, you allow everybody else to drop back into coverage. And of course, when Jarrett Stidham saw that, he once again showed why he's a backup quarterback. You're asking me who is going to win, Seahawks or Pats? Well, I'll tell you like this. I really have to sit back and think about it. That's first things first. But I will say this: I think that it's going to be a very competitive game. You have two good defenses. Um, One of these quarterbacks is going to have to step up and make plays. And Drake May is a starting quarterback for the Patriots, and he really hasn't played great, okay, in this playoff run for New England so far from the pocket with his arm. But against that Seahawks defense, he's going to have to make some plays from the pocket with his arm. The same could be said about Sam Darnold for the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is going to be a tremendous game. It's going to be a battle of the mics, and it's one of those where I know he calls himself Mike McDonald as opposed to Michael McDonald. But I'll tell you like this: if it was up to me, I would start breaking out and start singing "Sweet Freedom," even though none of y'all really want to hear me sing. But you know what? That's a whole nother story for another day. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a very competitive game in 2 weeks between New England and Seattle. If you're Seattle, hopefully you don't want the game to finish like it did the last time around when you face the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Of course, different cast on both sides, but nonetheless, that was a good game. And of course, Malcolm Butler is always going to live in Patriots lore for that one. But nonetheless, it's one of those you think about Vrabel. And, he spent the bulk of his career with the Patriots, got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course. But nonetheless, Vrabel made a name for himself with the Pittsburgh with the Patriots. And you go back to that Belichick defense. It was all about interchangeable parts. And, so often we would see Vrabel line up at defensive end. So often we would see Vrabel line up at outside linebacker. And, with his athleticism and his size, Mike Vrabel's a big guy. Okay, make no mistake about it. We're talking about a guy who's probably about 6'5", 270, very athletic during his time as a player. But you think about those Patriots teams that he was a part of that won championships. It was all about interchangeable parts up front between himself, Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis. You think about the likes of Ted Washington on that defensive line, Ted Johnson, so many other players. But nonetheless, it was all about interchangeable parts, and it was also about doing your job. And, Mike Vrabel was a tone setter when he played. Mike Vrabel has also been a tone setter when he is coach because whether it was New England this year or his tenure with the Tennessee Titans, guess what? His teams, more often than not, would out physical their opponents. You think about what Derrick Henry used to do with the football. And of course, Derrick Henry's still doing it for Baltimore. But prime Derrick Henry in Tennessee, he would basically try to bludgeon people. You think about that defense that Vrabel built there. And I guarantee you now, maybe the Titans are looking back and saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't have let this guy go. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But you look at this Patriots team, for the most part, throughout this season, and especially here in the postseason run for them so far, they have basically out physicaled their opponents. You go back to their wild card round game against the Chargers, and all of the talk in that game was about Jim Harbaugh, and of course, it was also about Justin Herbert. And of course, Jim Harbaugh didn't have a great coaching game in comparison to Mike Vrabel, and of course, this Patriots defense punked Justin Herbert. Okay, you go back to last weekend against the Houston Texans, and all we heard about going into that game was the Texans defense. And I get it because the Texans defense is phenomenal. But guess what? This Patriots defense showed that they can roll up their sleeves and get nasty as well. And then once again today against Denver, Vrabel inherited a defense that was 23rd in the NFL in yards allowed per game last season. This season, they were 8th, and it was almost a 50-yard difference. Okay, and this defense was once again a big part of it. You look at the physicality with their offensive line, and of course the running ability of Ramondre Stevenson in this one. Hey, the game, what's going on, man? You're asking me the same question as I had the TFX just asked as well. I got to think about it. I really do because I want to see the line on the game. I want to see. I would imagine, without even looking at it, I would think that Seattle's going to be favored slightly. I'm not, a Vegas odds maker, this, that, and the third, but I would imagine that Seattle will probably be favored by like 2 or 3 points in this game. I would imagine the over under be around 50, but I really got to sit back and think about this one because I think this is going to be a great game. But nonetheless, this Patriots defense, they have set the tone for this team all season long, and they've set the tone for them so far in this postseason. But I will say, looking ahead to this game in a couple of weeks between the Pats. Oh, you're okay, TFX. You're saying Seattle's 5-point favorite. Wow. Okay. I want to see if that line changes between now and game time. That's going to be very interesting right there. I thought it would have been a little bit closer. I'm not surprised that Seattle's opening as a favorite. But nonetheless, like I said, one of these quarterbacks is going to have to make the plays from the pocket, and Sam Darnold has been a great story this season, and he's finally found a home in the National Football League. And I know he had his breakout year last year with the Vikings, but, he looks like he has really found a home in the NFL. And, for Sam Darnold, it was one of those where, we've seen it too often. A young player, walks in And, the Jets want him to be the hero right away. And of course, they don't have a supporting cast around him. You look at last year with Minnesota, he had a supporting cast around him. You look at him right now in Seattle, he has an even better supporting cast around him. And that's, a big reason why the Seahawks are here. But nonetheless, one of these quarterbacks is going to have to make plays from the pocket. You got two good defenses, two phenomenal secondaries. I know Christian Gonzalez got beat early a couple of times on that touchdown drive by Denver, but nonetheless, after that, he locked in and he made the key plays. Of course, that big time interception late. But nonetheless, I think we're in store for a very good game in 2 weeks in Santa Clara. Getting back to the Patriots, Bill Belichick, when he was there, his moniker was "Do Your Job." And it's one of those, it's carried over to Mike Vrabel. And I know that it's unfortunate, in my opinion, from an outsider's perspective, what's happened with the relationship between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, because I truly do feel that both of them were important to the success that the Patriots had for about 2 decades. And I just hope, from an outsider's perspective, that their relationship doesn't go the way of the relationship with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson for so many years with the Dallas Cowboys. And basically, Jerry Jones is changing the subject very quickly. Jerry Jones wanted to happen to the Cowboys what's happening with the Patriots, because we all know Jerry wanted to prove that, what, he could do it without Jimmy Johnson. And yeah, they won one with Barry Switzer as their head coach, but Dallas has never been the same, because Jerry Jones, to me, I feel like has been more focused on the entertainment aspect and the glitz and glamour that come along with the Dallas Cowboys than he has been winning games. Robert Kraft, on the other hand, is all about winning. He's all about his business. Jerry Jones, for far too long, kept yes men in there as his head coaches. And of course, the proof is in the pudding. Robert Kraft was like, you know what? It ain't working out with Bill Belichick anymore. It didn't work out with Gerard Mayo. I want to win. And again, we just saw the Patriots have 3 consecutive losing seasons, and you got to go back to the early 90s for the last time that happened. The Patriots at one point had 6 consecutive losing seasons from pardon me, 5 consecutive losing seasons, excuse me, from 89 to 93. And once Robert Kraft took this team over, they had a losing season in 95 when they went 6-10. They had a losing season in 2000 when they went 5-11. They didn't have another losing season until 2020 when they went 7-9. That was the first year without Tom Brady. And of course, the consistency of the Patriots, we saw this team go 11-5 in 2008 and not make the playoffs. But that just gives you an idea of where things were at with that organization. And they're on the fast track. You go back a couple of years ago when New England took Drake May third overall. They had calls from teams like the Giants who wanted them to swap picks with them in order to move up and take Drake May. And like I always say, the decisions you make as an organization, for your GM, from the head coach, and of course the quarterback, especially when you're using top 5 picks on players, they can really impact your team either positively or negatively. And I always say, when you have those situations like that, you've got to hit on them. They hit on Mike Vrabel. Okay, Bill Belichick, and I said this for the longest time, Bill Belichick, the general manager, did not do Bill Belichick, the head coach, any favors. And it caught up to him eventually. And I think Gerard Mayo, in his 1 year as Patriots head coach, got caught up in that because Belichick did not leave him a good team. Mike Vrabel came in and inherited Drake May. Okay, he brought some guys in free agency wise. I think the acquisition of Stephon Diggs was big, but he only had one draft under him. A lot of these guys are still under contract for next season, and the Patriots are only going to have an opportunity to get better. So guess what? Whereas Buffalo, we've seen them in recent days, with their fiasco after they let Sean McDermott go, it looks like the Patriots are right back in the saddle to kind of like start running things once again in the AFC, which is crazy because Drake May's still a young quarterback. He's only going to get better. And I know, like I said, he has not played great so far in the postseason, but the Patriots are still here. And of course, they're winning. He hasn't played great, but he's made the key plays and he's made the necessary plays. He's still only in his second year, and he's only going to get better. Especially, if they keep McDaniels around as the OC. You're saying we got a busy year, my old friend. Super Bowl, Olympics, and then we got the World Cup. Yeah, and you forgot to mention something else, my man. Pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting in a couple of weeks as well. So yeah, nah, trust me, it's a busy sports docket, but you know what? That's why guys like us love it. I'll tell you like that. But nonetheless, you've seen the turnaround from this Patriots team. There's a different pep in their step this year with Mike Vrabel calling the shots, and of course, I think from an outsider's perspective, Robert Kraft looks like he's happy again with his team. And of course, if you want to win, that's the bottom line. You're going to get the people in there that are going to go out there and help you do it. Vrabel's Pats, what can you say? They've done their job all season long. That was a Belichick moniker. It's a Vrabel moniker, I'm sure of it. And if they're able to do their job 2 weeks from now, ain't going to be easy against Seattle folks. But nonetheless, they're going to be taking home their seventh Lombardi trophy. And that's insane because it's one of those where you look at the Patriots. This is now going to be their 12th appearance in the big game. So that basically means once every 5 years, New England is going to the Super Bowl. I know it didn't work out like that theoretically, but basically 1 out of 5 Super Bowls, you're basically saying that the New England Patriots organization is there. And again, I give a lot of credit to that to Robert Kraft because you don't get to that many Super Bowls by accident. You don't get to the Super Bowl, period, by accident. Okay. And like I've said before, you see some of these pundits on TV and radio who want to downplay, oh, this is the worst team to ever make a Super Bowl, this, that, and the third. No, you don't make it by accident. You shouldn't like try to take away from what somebody's accomplished. And I think the Patriots should be proud about what they did today, regardless if they faced backup quarterback or not. Because at the end of the day, the history books are only going to remember New England Patriots got to the Super Bowl and they beat the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. So it's one of those for me. This is their 11th trip under Robert Kraft, their 12th trip overall. And either we're going to see the Patriots get number 7 or we're going to see the Seahawks get number 2. And I'll tell you like this, TFX in the game, both of y'all might appreciate what I'm about to say. If you're a fan of the New York Jets, you don't want to watch this game because if you're a Jets fan, either you have to see your biggest rival who was down and got it going again quicker than you win a championship once again, or you have to see a team with Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback win the Super Bowl. The same Sam Darnold that you used a top 5 pick on a couple of years ago, the same Sam Darnold that on a Monday night game against the Patriots infamously said that he was seeing ghosts, and the same Sam Darnold that your former head coach Robert Saleh gave up on in favor of Zach Wilson, another first round dud for the Jets. But nonetheless, that Sam Darnold is 60 football minutes away from possibly winning a championship. So again, life as a New York Jet fan ain't good. And I'll tell you like this, the Patriots, and I know the Boston fans that support the Patriots really ain't feeling sorry for the Jet fans in the New York area. But yeah, TFX, you're saying your buddy's a Jet fan. He wants Darnold to win it, says it ain't his fault. It's really not. It's the Jets. I mean, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But I mean, either way, I know the Patriots ain't shedding tears for the Jets, and we know that Sam Darnold ain't shedding tears for the Jets either. But nonetheless, big time turnaround for the New England Patriots this season. Like I said, I really do think this is going to be a good game. I'm shocked by what you're saying, TFX, that they're a 5-point underdog so far. I would imagine that line closes between now and kickoff in 2 weeks. I truly do think so. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a good game. Both of these teams are very deserving to be there, well coached, very good defensive squads. They love to run the football. And let's see, like I said, let's see which of these quarterbacks is going to step up to the plate. But nonetheless, folks, we got our Super Bowl 60 matchup. The Patriots did their part, claiming their 12th AFC championship today. For the Seahawks, they went out there and claimed their third, fourth, I'm sorry, fourth NFC championship. It was their fifth time in a conference championship game. Going old school when the Seahawks used to play in the AFC West. They faced the Raiders in the AFC championship game that year. But nonetheless, Seattle in the NFC championship game is now 4-0, and they've never lost a conference championship game at home. While, of course, we've seen the Patriots over the years specialize in this game. And nonetheless, like I said before, big time turnaround by the Pats, and they have an opportunity to put the cherry on the top with the Super Bowl championship in a couple of weeks. But folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. If you like what you heard and saw, definitely feel free to like this podcast as well as subscribing to this channel. If you have subscribed to this channel already, definitely appreciate it. And also, please feel free to tell a friend about it. Also, definitely keep in tuned with this channel for the next couple of weeks because I have a plethora of stuff to talk about between now and then, leading up to Super Bowl number 60, as well as a lot of other football news around the league. So definitely stay tuned. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. You give me that follow, I'll definitely do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, and you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And like I always say, it's one of the better sports groups going on social media. TFX, Omega, the game. Definitely appreciate the commentary. Definitely appreciate you chiming in. Definitely appreciate the support as always. And until the next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.